flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk.
President Edwards.
Present.
Vice President Paul.
Present.
Counselor Janik.
Present.
Counselor DiMedeiros.
Present.
Counselor Comito.
Present.
Counselor Perry.
Present.
And Counselor Burke.
Present. I don't like this new water.
No, she just went. She went off of the sheet. All right. So first item on the agenda is consent agenda. Would any councilors like to remove anything from the consent agenda? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, did you want to pull something off, Counselor Comito? All right. So we're going to pause. I know there's a lot on here.
Go ahead. About what? You sure?
Yes, Counselor Janik.
Number 11, Town of Middletown Resolution supporting fully funding the state aid for the library. We haven't done that yet, have we?
No, we have not.
Okay, so can I pull that off?
All right. So, Counselor Comito, you still looking, sir? Okay. So the motion is to approve the consent agenda minus 11. I'm sorry, D11. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Okay. Counselor Janik.
So the Town of Middletown has done a resolution supporting fully funding state aid to the libraries. The state law says that we would fund 25%, and with the new budget, they're trying to fund less than 25%. So I'd like to fund at 25%, which is state law.
So, just for clarification, we're asking
I'm
the
sorry,
solicitor.
I'm asking for a resolution,
Okay.
yes.
Perfect. All right. Motion to approve D11 then.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Okay. Before we get to the public comments, I just want to note that item 9I, under advice of counsel, is not going to be discussed this evening. It will be on the Thursday budget meetings executive session, and that's where we're going to be discussing that item. So, with that, Renee Jones for EDC.
Good evening.
Chair Jones.
Pardon?
Chair Jones.
Chair Jones, whatever. Just some information. When the town started working on the town charter, we started looking at what the EDC was supposed to be doing. And about that time, I also received I was contacted by Ken Burns from Bioprocess H2O, which is a business that is currently in Portsmouth Industrial Park and is starting to look to expand and was actually looking at our business park. They apparently had contacted or said they contacted the town but hadn't heard back, so they got in touch with me. But because of, okay, the business currently employs 17 workers, engineers, biologists, and skilled tradesmen. I apologize for this because I don't do well with copying things out. This is a little bit about the business.
Thank you.
I actually made a visit and went to visit them at their current place of business. It is a 20,000 square foot warehouse-type building that, like I said, employs 17 workers, engineers, biologists, and skilled tradesmen. On my site visit, I personally walked through their production area where they showed me what they constructed. There was no hazardous waste, 1 to 2 truck deliveries a day, and their product is in fact purchased and made there, and purchased to remove toxic waste from wastewater. And they are looking to buy 5 acres. So 5 acres, okay. it's a business that is, I've been asked why I don't bring businesses into town. This is a business that I think we should actually look at, because it's a solid one. It's 20 years in business and would be something that would bring high-quality level workers to the town.
Question for you, Chair. Would you be willing to facilitate an introduction to the administrator?
I'd be more than happy to do that,
Wonderful.
because they would be more than happy to meet the administrator, and I would be more than happy to go with him. They had tried to contact the people before, but somehow it didn't work. Anyway, so that's the first reason I wanted to come here, because I wanted to pass that along. I think it's something that we should look into. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I'm sorry, I cannot.
That's okay. We're meeting tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Because the chair set up the meeting. I've been in communication with them, so thank you for that.
Okay.
Meeting tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Say hello to Kyle for me. It's just a very interesting business, and I think, like I said, we should follow up on it. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was that, we have had a lot of talk around town about how Tiverton is not business-friendly, which is a phrase that I wish people would stop using. It doesn't belong in our town. Thanks to David Paul, we started a new program that is called, that has welcomed over close to 18 new businesses to town. And we have met them all individually. We have spoken to the business owners, and they have all been very happy that we were able to reach out to them. We have also started a program, the EDC, where we will once a month highlight a business by purchasing an ad in the Secundit Times. If you look at last Wednesday's, it was MLR Builders, I think, yes. And we will be doing that on a monthly basis. It may be just mentioning that they're a new business. It may also be something that is happening that would be positive for the business community. But I want to ask people to really start thinking about Tiverton as a good place to do business, because in fact it is. The problems that people have with business is when we're not consistent with what we do. And that's something that's being looked at with the zoning and with the North Tiverton Business Group. And I think we have a lot to offer businesses in town. Wait a second. I was curious myself and actually went on the state, Secretary of State business site, and we have apparently 741 trade names in the town of Tiverton. I don't know, we don't have emails and we don't have phone numbers for them, but there are 741. Right now, we have approximately 240 names on our business list that we've been working really hard to do. This business list is critical. It allows us to send out information in a timely manner. It started during COVID. I had a business contact me saying that they had received a grant, and I can't talk too much more about it, because of information that we had sent them. So there's things going on in town. I think businesses are starting to realize that we're there for their support. And I would like the town council to take a positive attitude when they're talking about businesses. That's a big deal. And that's really all I have to say. I was just wanting to make sure that we followed up with that business that we found. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nope. Counselor Burke and Comito, I think.
Renee,
something.
before you go, the other thing the EDC talked about was suggesting some potential charter changes.
Yes.
So you'll be getting that to the
I think
council
I
president?
already
It's
sent. I
already
sent
had, so when we
charter-
have the meeting, it'll be on
Okay.
the agenda,
I
yes.
ought to send charters, because one of the things that I wanted to bring up, thank you for reminding me, was that I think it would be helpful if we had a member of the EDC in some of the executive sessions where they're talking about businesses and talking about land use and talking about where to, what to do with them. I think we have contact with the businesses. I think it would be a good way to sort of act as an advocate for them.
Counselor Comito?
Yeah, so when we talk about, so when you say about the council saying, change our attitude or change it to a positive with business friendly, I sit out in the town of Tiverton and get contacted by businesses or people willing to come into Tiverton, and they say the process to come into Tiverton is terrible. I witness it firsthand with construction and contractors, and for them to get a simple project off the ground, the hoops that we're jumping through is, to me, way too much. And I'm hoping, with the position of our new planner being in place, that we can change that atmosphere and hopefully take the process that has taken so long for a simple business to come into town. Hopefully, Chris will be able to get it in line, get through the system, and put a plan in place to make it more business-friendly to work with
And
companies that
consistent.
want to come in.
And consistent.
100% agree
because-
with consistency.
Because what happens is different people have different experiences depending on what their business is. If you're somebody that has to have a building permit, if you're somebody that, different businesses have different requirements when they come in. I had a horror story of one business that took 4 years to get settled and before they were opened. And so I understand what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
I-
And we're trying to, I am certainly going to advocate for that. I think what we have to do is make sure that everybody goes through the same steps, everybody knows what the steps are, and that they're applied fairly and quickly. That's what we need to do.
Yeah,
Stream-
and I think
And I
the-
agree, streamlining it would be a help.
I think that the administrator is making changes within the planner's office, the building department's office, to make positive changes in that direction, I believe, with Chris, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Yeah, which is a
Thank you. I still
Thank
would
you.
like to be on the. Okay, thank you, that's it.
All right, so next item on the agenda is appointments and our acknowledgement of resignations. We have 3: Melissa Quinlan from the Dog Park Committee effective April 18th, 2026, Joanna Christman from the Dog Park Committee effective April 12th, 2026, and Paul Anderson from the Dog Park Committee effective April 12th, 2026. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept those resignations with regret.
I'd like to make, second it, also like to say these 3 members, I'm very, very grateful for all the work they did there, and it'll be a real loss to the dog park that they're leaving.
Councilor Paul, I know you wanted to say something as well.
You do too.
You stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. And again, I mean, any resignation from a committee, we always accept with regret because it's truly, that's how it is. In this case here with these 3, they are part of the original group that predated the actual dog park committee and forming that dog park and getting it completed. And it's been highly successful since, and so we're looking for some new blood, so people that can carry it forward, so that way recreation doesn't have to take it over.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, next item on the agenda is Harbor Commission, 9-member board, 2-year terms. We have a vacancy for a public member and 1 vacancy for a planning board representative. We have 2 applicants for the public member vacancy, Tyler Slade Duvall and Gary Monahan. We interviewed both these candidates at the last meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion for appointment. Councilor Burke.
I would move to appoint Tyler Slade Duvall of 44 Jolly Hill for a term ending 7/15/27.
Do we have a second?
second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Could I nominate Gary or no?
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll nominate Gary Monahan for the position.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I will now do a roll call vote. You will say the name of the person who you're voting for. Councilor Comito.
Tyler Slade Duvall?
Councilor Burke.
Mr. Duvall.
Councilor Janik.
Tyler Slade Duvall.
Councilor DiMedeiros.
Gary Monahan.
Councilor Perry. I'm sorry, Councilor Paul.
Gary Monahan.
Councilor Perry. So we're at 3-3. It means I get to be the deciding vote. I will,
You wanted that spot.
yeah, I did. I think we had 2 fantastic candidates in front of us. I will, just in the interest of adding a new body to the town, I think Mr. Monahan does a phenomenal job on the other committees that he's part of, right? He's on rec, yes?
Recreation, yeah.
Yep. And so I will vote for Tyler Duvall. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Conservation Commission. We have a 7-member board, 3-year terms, 2 vacancies. We have 1 applicant, Derek Foley, 45 Cliff Street, requests appointment for a term ending 4/15/2028 or 2029, depending on which year we'd like to put this gentleman in. Mr. Foley. You may sit, you may stand. It's whatever your pleasure is, sir.
Prefer the seat. That way there I can face everybody, we're good.
All right, Mr. Foley, thank you for your application. Ask everybody the same question, so why would you like to join the Conservation Commission, sir?
It's a big part of who I am, so I do a lot of outside work with a lot of different agencies in town. Locally, I work with the baseball teams local. I do a lot of work with the hunters education and bow education safety. Locally in town, I teach it for Block Island and Prudence Island. I'm the Southeast instructor. I have extensive work with the outdoors and teaching the habitat kind of scenarios, as well as the environmental side of things. When I teach the class, I edge that in and use our area as examples. You know, when you urbanize certain areas, it pushes some of the animals in different habitats out, and it's, you know, it's a learning experience that we have a focal point to look at and see visually. And then when you're out there in the actual wild, looking at wildlife and learning their paths and the way that they communicate to each other, you learn how the herds get dissipated and how things change. So it gives me a good preservation, kind of conservation look at everything that's going on. I'm not sure if there's anything else I can really go in. I do a lot of volunteer work. Like I'm well over 300 plus hours already, probably this year. I just spent the weekend in Addersville helping out with a bunch of youths on a turkey hunt.
Nice.
So I get a lot of vocal points for that. And
I will tell you from my perspective, the fact that you are a Tiverton High graduate also plays well into your favor, albeit 8 years before me, sir. Any questions from the rest of the council? Councilor Janik.
sure.
Just really more a comment. What I highlighted was you discussed the consequences of residential expansion, and as you know, we're expanding faster and furiously and more than we want at times, but you're seeing that in Tiverton, especially the wildlife displacement and habitat fragmentation. And I think that you would be really a valuable asset to this committee in trying to balance it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think there's a helpful balance, and you're going to be really mindful to the displacement, because there's a lot of good that comes from having the green space, and I've learned a lot during the years of service with them. I mean, I've been teaching the class for over 10 years. I've seen so many kids and adults as well, and trying to get them involved in making those decisions. They can be hard and easy at times, but I mean, learning from them, seeing it firsthand and getting them out there to actually visually understand it is what I'm about.
All right. Any other questions from the council? Councilor DiMedeiros.
I'd like to make a motion to waive our policy.
Do we have a second? Second. Motion been made, seconded by several. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Okay, now Councilor DiMedeiros.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Derek Foley to the Conservation Commission, term ending, I'm going to go for the 29 one.
Yeah,
Okay, love it.
second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we have Recreation Commission. We have a 7-member board, 3-year terms. There are 2 vacancies. We have Shannon McNamara, 65 East DeMello Drive, request appointment for a term ending 4/15/2029. Shannon, welcome.
Oh, hello. So,
Tell us
same
why you
same questions.
tell us why you'd like to join the Rec Commission.
Basically, I've been doing a lot of volunteering around town, but not in an official capacity. So I thought it would be great to get on a board, and I have talked at length with Stu, and this seemed like a good way to get officially involved with the community. And I have small children. I always talk highly of all of the different activities and things that Rec does in town, so it would be great to be an official part of it, and I'm just really looking forward to doing this if I can. So.
Okay, any questions from the council? Councilor Burke.
Quick comment. I appreciate all the enthusiasm I've seen from you, Shannon, over the years that few years I've known you, and I know that you'll bring that enthusiasm and the willing to chip in that a commission like the Recreation Commission needs. So thank you for stepping forward.
No problem.
Okay, any further questions, Counselor Janik?
It's a great group. They're busy, they're active. The fact that you're a graphic artist, I think that's a huge help too. They really will tap into that talent.
That I can help with at any time.
Okay, Counselor DiMedeiros, you look like you're ready to say something.
I'm going to make a motion to waive our policy.
Second? There's
You
two
still-
openings,
you
but
still
it's a
need
new
to wait.
appointment, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, seconded by Counselor Perry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
All right, thank you.
Counselor DiMedeiros, would you like to
Wait,
make a
we're not
motion?
done.
Yeah, okay, all right.
We waived it, we can still shoot you down.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Shannon McNamara to the Recreation Commission, term ending 4/15/2029.
Second.
Seconded by everyone. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Congratulations. and
Now, thank you.
Okay, next up is the council acting as Board of Licensing. Yep, yeah, Board of Licensing.
Oh, yeah.
First up, we have Charles Mulcahy, 65 Beach Avenue, Tiverton, requesting the private detective license renewal. This is this gentleman's probably 30th renewal. Nothing has really changed. Do we have to do this in public comment on this, or no? Board of Licensing? No? Okay. With motion to approve by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Paul. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay. Next up is our public hearings as advertised. We have the first one, approval of the proposed amendment to the Tiverton Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Section 2-1, fees and fines for proposed changes to the summer camp fees. As this is a public hearing, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Would any member of the public like to speak on this topic? Any member of the public? Any member of the public? Okay, I'd like to close the public hearing. Do I have any motions from the council or questions? This was presented to us at our last meeting, or 3 meetings ago.
Will we be voting on the council recommendation one that's in green?
Mr. Solicitor?
Yes, right. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to zoning, it's fine.
Councilor DiMedeiros is jumping ahead. Okay.
Motion to approve the proposed amendment to Tiverton Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Administration, Section 2-1, fees and fines for proposed changes to summer camp fees.
Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by several. Any further discussion? Yes. Councilor DiMedeiros?
I do have one question. If you look at the categories, right, it says main camp, after camp, main camp, after camp,
Aftercare.
after camp. What is the difference between the two main camps?
So the main camp.
Up at the top, yeah. It's probably very obvious, but I just, because it's different prices too.
Chair
Right.
Gilfillen?
So, Stu Gilfillen, Rec Chair. The main camp is from 9 to 2, and then the aftercare program is from 2 to 5. Within that, there's a discount for people that have siblings, and so that applies both with resident and non-resident. So
That's why there's two main camps.
there's
in-
why it's the same camp. It's just broken down that way.
Okay.
I do have, and you had asked at the last meeting for some information about sort of
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, happy to circulate just more depth on
I
the
just
breakdown.
want to know if you were broke even last year.
We did not, and we haven't for the past couple of years, just based on the fact that the cost of minimum wage has gone up. One of the things that happened after the season had started is the cost. We'd had an agreement with a bus provider at a discounted rate that we had been using for a while, and that number went up pretty dramatically, so we're accounting for it in our budget this year. There's a possibility that it will be lower than what we've listed, but we're trying to close the gap down on what we would see.
Is this going to help?
This will help. I will still say it's not going to necessarily make us run at a break even on it.
As long as we're close.
We're going to get closer.
Good, thank you.
And
Councilor
just
Janik.
one other thing that you had pointed out last time is that no child will be turned away.
Absolutely.
For financial reasons.
Absolutely. The only time that we ever turn anyone away is if we run out of space at the camp.
Right.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Thank you.
None opposed. All right, next item on the agenda is approval of the proposed amendment to the Tiverton Code of Ordinances as listed. This is Articles of Appendix A zoning ordinances continued from the 3/9/26 meeting. As this is a public hearing, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Would any member of the public like to speak on these proposed changes? before the solicitor occupies our time. Any other members of the public? Any members of the public? All right, I'd like to close the public hearing. Questions or comments or a motion from the council? Councilor DiMederos, I know you had something you wanted to say. Nope. Councilor Comito.
So I still believe there needs to be some changes within this document. I'm not prepared tonight with those changes. I would personally like to meet with Chris Spencer, the planner, about some of these changes. I know he had changes. I spoke to him after the last meeting. We haven't got together to go through the changes. I would like to table this until Chris Spencer either gives us his view or his ideas about all these changes. I'd like to hear from him. And I know he's tied up this week with some very important stuff, so I'm asking to table this until we can have Chris Spencer in front of us.
Solicitor Marcello, will your counterpart, Mr. Romano, jump out of a third-story window if we continue this?
I'll answer that. No. I'm going to push Mike out, that's all.
We're on the 11th floor, just so we know. Well, I certainly, and again, there are, while I respect Council Committee's concerns, I prefer, but it's not my vote, and I don't have this chance, but there are some things that I think that we should be passing tonight to fill in some gaps. I don't know if Council Committee has a problem with all of the stuff that we have. Some of these are definitional that we need to put in that mirror state law. So, but it's not, it's not my role to say, would I prefer that this be done tonight? Yes, we've been dealing with this for a long time. The council has had this for a long time. We have some amendments that we talked at as a result of the last public hearing, but that's not my role. But so we will do anything that you want. I just want to point out that if we don't do some of this stuff, like some of the stuff like that we wanted to do is
The ADUs.
The ADUs, the manufactured homes, the athletic club. Actually, we did the athletic club last time.
So there's definitely concerns with the ADUs that I'm not ready to support what's in this document with ADUs.
Substandard lots of records, something that, I think should be addressed, but.
So ADUs, we can't have garages right now. We can't, the square footage is 20,000 square foot for a lot size, right? So all those.
You could amend that tonight if you wanted to.
Well, so I'd rather amend them with the help of our planner, who is gonna be involved in all this stuff, right? So for me to just say, yeah, I want to amend it from 20,000 to 10,000, right? So am I gonna cause damage, not cause damage? I'd rather have the input from our planner to understand the change, make sure it's correctly done, and so we can move forward in a positive way. And yes, Mike, we've had this in front of us for a long time. We just finally had a meeting on this, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Where we sat with Todd in the board at the, I don't even know what the date was, but it was a couple of weeks ago, right?
At least a month.
I don't think it's been that long.
No, we had to re-advertise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I will meet with Mr. Comito this week if you want.
So I just, like I said, I just think that there's some things in here that definitely need to be changed. I'd rather have our planner help me change those things with the correct wording. I was in contact today with the administrator. I don't know, you're shrugging your shoulders.
No, I said I don't
so.
care. I'm not opposed to it. It's your choice.
Right.
You can do whatever you want.
I have a question here for Attorney Romano. In our document, we have, like, green is highlights are based on changes from the workshop.
Yes.
Is that what is in front of us today? And then would it be possible for you to just quickly highlight and refresh the council's memory on those changes that we highlighted in the documents?
The green highlights?
Just the green highlights.
A lot of those were just stylistic changes.
Okay. Nothing of
No
substance.
substantive.
There was nothing changed in the document from our meeting that we went.
I don't think we proposed anything, did we?
Right, we didn't have anything proposed.
I wasn't
to
sure
us.
if you gleaned some consensus from us at the table or not, and took it of your own volition to make some
As
alterations.
Great as that conversation was, I could not divine what you wanted.
Okay, so Counselor Comito has a motion to continue this
We need to get a date certain.
to a period certain, which will be, Counselor Comito, what would you recommend for the date on your motion?
I'd like to get on the next agenda if we could. I just want to meet.
5/11? Okay, so this would be continued, the motion that was, motion by Counselor Comito is to continue to 5/11, seconded by Counselor Burke, Counselor DiMederos.
If we approved this package tonight, we can always come back to the sections that Craig has concerns with. So we could move forward, and then May 11th, have then we could come back.
No,
No.
so we'd have to start the process over
Yeah,
again.
we'd have
if
to
we were gonna-
re-advertise.
Right, but just those changes.
No, so if you approve this tonight, then if there are amendments if there are amendments proposed at the 11th, we'd have to go through the whole process over again, re-advertise, get a planning board recommendation. and
For the whole document. Or
no,
just-
just the changes that you're
Just the
making.
changes.
Correct, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, just the
Because you have concerns with some of this that needs to go through.
I can give you that quick example. So if, like, accessory dwelling units, right now, with the way this is proposed, you can't have a garage on an ADU.
I know.
So, no, you can't.
Multiple accessory structures are prohibited
Yeah.
But
under
yeah,
residential
and
zones.
just so you're clear, I don't believe you can, the state law says you have one ADU per lot. So if you want to have 6, I don't think it's allowed by state law. Right.
I'm not saying to have 6. What I'm saying is if I want to have an ADU and I want to have a garage, we cannot have a garage.
Or
You
a
can have a
shed,
garage in an ADU,
or a shed,
or a shed, yeah.
is
Yes.
his concern.
A garage or a
Which
shed.
would be my concern as well. And
But is that state law, or is that something?
It doesn't
No,
matter what
that's-
state law
that's-
is, we can have what we want in our,
that's,
in
that's
our,
that's
the
where
number,
you're-
the
Not,
multiple.
not, we can't override state
Here's,
law.
so, give you a good example, right? I don't have a garage. The only way for me to put a garage on my property would be a detached garage. I have a shed in the back of my house. Based on the way that these zoning laws are written, I cannot put a detached garage in my house, ADU or otherwise.
Because you would have 2 accessory structures.
Correct. The only way around that would be for me to make that detached garage an ADU.
correct. It's not just the ADUs.
Yes.
It's the accessory structures. There's some things in here that need to be tweaked. I even believe our chair from
Planning.
planning agrees that there needs to be some changes in here. And I think the planning chair, Chris Spencer, and whoever else wants to be involved, to sit down and go through a couple of these changes before this gets voted in. I want to do it with our new planner, period. That's just me.
What did you think was the biggest issue, though? Was the ADUs? We talked about the ADUs for 90% of that meeting.
ADUs, accessory dwellings,
Yeah, but we,
the list goes on.
Accessory structures is,
Accessory structures with,
but we talked about all of that at the last zoning meeting,
And we made 0 changes.
because no one asked them to make a change.
that was just a workshop, so
My-
that wasn't the
my
time
question
and
is,
place.
though, and again, I did watch the meeting, I was unable to attend. The question is, were changes not made because these need to be made to state law?
It would depend on the change, Mr. Paul.
Some of it is state law. You are correct. But some of it is not.
Counselor Burke.
So while I appreciate that we could do something tonight and then change it going forward again, I'm concerned about constantly going back into a zoning ordinance and making changes, because once you change something tonight, then whoever wants to do something can do it based on that, and if we change it again, then you have other issues that come in. So I'd rather get it done once, which is why I seconded Councilor Comito's motion.
I would also like to note that I appreciate that there are some items in state law. This council did pass a resolution instructing the planning board to disregard the zoning changes that the state pushed forward. So, whether or not the state cares, I think our position as a town is that we're not going to be pushed around as far as local control of zoning goes. So, we have a motion from Councilor Comito, seconded by Councilor Burke, to continue this to the 5/11 meeting. With that, the public hearing is not closed.
I got it.
Councilor Perry.
We had that meeting a month ago, and we accomplished nothing. Correct? Correct. So we're gonna put it on the next agenda meeting. It's gonna take up the whole meeting again. Hopefully, we're gonna accomplish something. I think it should be a workshop and not part of our meeting.
Well, if it's a workshop, we can't vote on it.
Well,
Yes, you can.
we can do a workshop.
You can vote in a workshop.
We can do a workshop, because it's gonna take up a whole meeting again. It took up all of 2 hours that night.
I'm sorry. I think it's important, we will support you, whatever, but I think in order for that workshop to be successful, you have to get a consensus among yourself what you're proposing so that the rest of the council can see those amendments that you're changing. Because what I do not want to do is I do not want to write zoning amendments on the fly at a council meeting, because that's when we make huge errors.
Correct.
That's when we have stuff that
That's when the
happens.
fun happens after
Yeah,
that's
so,
approved.
but you absolutely get elected to make those decisions. I just want to make sure that once you meet with the planner and whoever you need to meet with, that you have a consensus. You may not have a consensus for a 10,000, I don't know, but I'm just telling you, that's what we need.
We'd like to have an opportunity to go over the stuff with the planner,
I'm not saying you
make a
should.
professional decision. I would even welcome Todd to sit and go through it again. And I don't mean rehash everything. What I'm saying is, go through the stuff that we all talked about for hours up there, and we didn't do anything with it, myself included. So I just don't want to vote a package through that I'm not happy with. That's all I'm
So-
saying.
Councilor Camino, can I make an ask when you have the meeting with the planner and potentially Attorney Romano and whomever else, and you have items that you think would be worthy of change, would you be willing to document those for backup for the 511 meeting? That way, at least we can narrow in, and if it's like we want to change the number of accessory dwelling units based on a property size, right? Maybe Councilor Camino says we should have 5, but that, at least we're just changing a number, not, rewriting the entire zoning code in one shot.
I think Mike and I, we had conversations after that meeting, and we discussed about square footage lots for ADUs, right? And you gave me some good advice, right? Which I thought was excellent, but maybe it was me. I didn't do anything with it. I need to have a meeting with the planner and understand, it goes back to when we merged lots. I think we merged non-conforming lots at one point in town here not too long ago, right? And when I talked to the planner, he's like, well, there was no reason to do that. Like, why, we created some of our own problems. I want to discuss that with the planner and make sure we're going down the right path.
Councilor Janik.
As scary as it sounds, I agree with you, Council President. I think that if we're going to, I do, with all of your points.
That's two, Councilor
It's
Janik.
two, I know, I
It's
know.
3 now, it's 3.
I know, it's 3 in 2026. So, but I think we need to have a timeline on this. We spent 2 hours kind of going round and round. The state law is really poorly written. It's very vague, it's contradictory, and we couldn't decide on how we wanted to fit into that legally. So I think that we really need to have some good recommendations, and we have to set a timeline. We can't just keep pushing this out
I think
and kicking the can down the road, because this is important. It needs to be written and finalized.
Okay, so with that, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? This is the continuance to the 511 meeting.
511, yeah.
With parameters, right?
Yes, Councilor Camino is going to have his meeting and come up with some suggestions. I think that's a great place for us to start, because Councilor Camino has been the most outspoken on the zoning changes.
Before we vote, I just want to recognize Councilor Perry's concern about this being part of a regular meeting and not a separate workshop. So if folks are comfortable with it being part of the regular meeting, okay. But that's what the motion on the floor is, to have it part of a regular meeting.
Yeah. We'll just make sure it's a light meeting. All right.
You got budget too. So.
Well, those are workshops. Those are,
I'm saying, but you have
Yes.
budget hearings too, so.
and we have budget hearings, and we also have charter review hearings that we need to schedule later on. All right, all those in favor? All right, thank you, Attorney Romano, for your patience. All right, next item on the agenda.
See you in May.
We'll be back in the council chambers then, sir.
Oh, that's true.
All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible vote to approve amended resolution 2026-0011 appropriating $165,000 to fund playground renovations for Pocasset Field and Hooper Park, and $9,800 to fund the police department flooring additional costs from casino revenue account fund 650. We had this discussion to exercise the move to the resolution at the prior meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion at this time.
So moved to approve.
Councilor
Second.
Janik is seconding. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor. Councilor Burke is a no, because he does not approve of the process. Councilor Camino, are you a yes or no, sir?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Next item on the agenda is a discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2026-0012, $44,364 appropriation from FY25 Casino Gaming Fund 650 for emergency HVAC repairs at Ranger and Pocasset Elementary Schools. This is also was in front of us, and we did have consensus from the council at the last meeting to draft this resolution. I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed is Councilor Burke.
Actually, I'm going to be opposed. I'm going to change mine to opposed.
Councilor Comito is also opposed. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible vote to approve $168,500 from the FY25 Casino Gaming Fund 650 to offset state mandated curriculum costs and technology investments. This was continued from 4/13/2026. This is not a resolution. This is a discussion. I see
Well,
that
C and D is there together, so if you look at C.
we will
it's a
take both of
discussion, and then
those.
D is the resolution, so.
All right, so we'll,
I wanted to save time, just in
Oh,
case.
all right, because I didn't remember that we.
No one had agreed, but I thought because we're getting close to the budget year, we had
Yes.
to make some decisions. I took a little liberty with the assistance of the council president and the town administrator to put both on. You can vote it down, you don't have to do anything you want, but I wanted to give you the option, so we don't wait for another meeting, that's all.
wonderful. I see the superintendent is present, as well as the finance director for the schools. I don't know if you gentlemen would like to come up.
I don't remember this. I don't, this one especially. It's not capital.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Guess we can start with questions from the council. Councilor DiMederos.
Well, it's not a question, it's a statement. I just don't see this as capital. The curriculum implementation. And I think we talked about it last time, too. This was not what I think was intended for the gaming.
Councilor Perry? We're doing them both at the same time, so you can start either one. Oh.
You asking me?
Yeah.
The curriculum implementation, I don't believe is a capital expense.
Correct.
Okay. And we discussed it last time, too.
Councilor Burke.
And again, similar, I mean, I think when we allowed for the textbooks last year, I believe it was, we did it as an emergency because there were some significant budget concerns. And then we had the deficit that was inherited. That is we're using the reimbursement from the casino expenses that came in for the school to help cover that cost. And I think part of this is the operational budget needs to be able to cover what is operational. And to me, these are the first capital request one, curriculum implementation, is an operational expense. It's an ongoing expense. So I always look ahead at what happens if at some point we're not getting the casino money. And this is being dealt with on the side, and you need to do something with this, whether it's this or some other, whether it's regular textbooks or this. I just think we're treading on thin ice in terms of how we're interpreting the use of gaming money by.
All right, Councilor DiMederos, then Councilor Janik.
We actually did it 2 years ago, Mike, and if you remember why, it was to keep Fort Barton open. We were trying to get the right amount of money to keep Fort Barton open. So we took a whole bunch of this so-called capital so that we could keep the school open.
That is correct, and then subsequent to that, the school was closed regardless. Councilor Janik.
So I don't necessarily agree that the curriculum implementation is not capital. This is not purchased every year, correct? It's how many years?
This would be for 6 years.
For 6 years.
So it's a one-time purchase for 6 years.
But I think that in a lot of industry, capital is for a program or materials or whatever that's utilized for 5 or more years. So I think in that regard, this would fit that criteria.
Councilor Paul.
So I'm going to start a counter with Councilor Janik, so I don't know if we're 1 for 1 this year. I agree, because there's two ways to look at this. And that's the question I was gonna ask. This is a 5-6 year plus return here.
Correct.
Now, the other way to look at this for my fellow council members is if we give them 168.5 right now to cover this curriculum, they don't need it next year, but the MOE says we have to give it to them. So then what?
If it's in the regular
If it
operating.
could-
Yes.
So, you're sitting on 168,000 next year that you didn't necessarily need, that can be used elsewhere. But again, it's MOE, and we gotta keep giving you the 168, or we give it to you once.
Well, 168 plus $1. In,
How did you used to pay for this before we had casino? It used to be in the general operating budget. It wasn't a capital expense, because I was there.
Council DiMaderos, we did not have a state mandate for high-quality curriculum materials in science or social studies until this year.
Okay.
So,
But there must have been very similar expenses in the past.
Very similar, but far less costly.
so if I could add, Councilor DiMaderos, just for some color, because I remember being on the Budget Committee when the Chromebook piece was first launched. And I remember getting into an argument with the then chair of the school committee and then superintendent that they were effectively just sliding the purchase of technology into the budget without ever actually asking for approval for it. So in that vein, I do, again, increase the counter, Councilor Janik. I do see things like the purchase of the curriculum and then also the Chromebooks as being a capital expenditure, given the long life that they should endure.
And to add to that, Council President, is many of our surrounding districts do the same. If you look at Barrington, Portsmouth, Lowell, Compton, they're all utilizing curriculum and technology in their capital fund. It's just separate. And that's a segue to Councilor DiMaderos' answer, I believe, when you were on the school committee, is you always use the fund balance as capital, and that's what other towns are doing. So now we don't have a fund, we don't have a fund balance.
Now,
So-
there's no more public comment sign up. Throw it out.
Yeah, you don't have to get mad.
We don't have a fund balance or a capital fund per se, so
Right.
this is when we utilize gaming as a town-wide to assist all departments, and that's our request.
Okay, Councilor Janik.
Just to repeat, you did say this is the first year that this is mandated from the state.
Correct. We had a few years to enter them into our curriculum, and this is the deadline year. So we had last year and this year to enter them into the curriculum, and this is the
These
deadline.
programs.
Correct.
So for the last 2 years, was there any preparation?
No, just last year as in this school year and the upcoming. That's the point, is this year was the preparation year, and now we're ready to enroll them into our curriculum.
So if I could ask a question for clarity, what is the specific ask here? Because I know we're straddling two different agenda items, right? So
Yep.
one is 168,000 for software and Chromebooks. The other
No.
one is 168.5 for.
Nope,
the
just
curriculum.
$109,445 for science and social studies combined. One's $59,000 for science and $50,000 for middle school social studies. And the additional is, Chromebook is $55 for a total of $168,500.
So I have a question for you on the Chromebooks, because it says here this is approximately 45% of the Chromebook costs. In my
Correct.
opinion, if we're using this as a capital replacement fund, it should be an all or nothing proposition. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and we did it this way, kind of to Counselor Burke's point, is, the schools are trying to bring in more operating per the request of the town council and school committee over the last couple of years, but don't push aside that these are, as an accountant, these are definitely capital items.
So let me ask you a follow-on question. What is the actual number that you need for Chromebooks?
It would be 132,000,
All right, even?
yes.
Okay.
Give or take, it's probably, I just used the round number, but.
Okay. Any additional questions from, actually, one more follow-on question. So at our last discussion on the curriculum piece, I'm assuming this 109,445, this removes the training modules?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
This is just strictly for the actual curriculum and the supporting materials that go with the curriculum?
Correct.
Not
Yep.
for staff training?
Nope.
What percentage of Chromebooks are actually repaired? I think I asked this question at the last meeting. Do we have a number?
I do not have a number of the percentage, but if I were to throw it at the wall, I'd say about 15%
Are actually repaired?
are repaired.
And then the others are just,
Basically, because we don't have the staff to do it, correct?
Well, Chromebooks do get a lot of wear and tear, so I'm sure with your own technology use, even with normal wear and tear, there are some repairs necessary.
I already broke my thing, so.
But yes, due to the number of staff to number of devices ratio, it does take some time to repair the Chromebooks. Some of the Chromebooks do go out to the vendor for repair.
is there a company that will buy them back and pay us for them?
I'm unsure of a buyback program. These Chromebooks have an expected lifespan of 3 to 4 years. We keep them for a minimum of 6 years and replace kindergarten, grade 5, and grade 9 every year to get the new ones. But if I were to guess, I'd say about 15% annually require repair. I can provide an accurate figure for you, though, Councilor Perry.
You know, the more I see and read throughout the country, they're trying to get away from Chromebooks, especially in the lower grades. Are we looking at that in the schools?
We are looking at how we are using technology in the classroom. We have teachers who use a balanced approach, meaning that students do some of their work on technology, but the instruction is done through the teacher. We have other programs that are online. For example, Lexia is a literacy program. It has over 30 years of efficacy, proving its benefit in foundational literacy to readers. So that is a computer online-based program that has a lot of research behind it. There's some math programs as well. 20, 30 minutes on the math program would be very beneficial to the user. However, the state of Rhode Island requires the use of Chromebooks for all of its assessment systems. So we will continue to need to have Chromebooks in the classroom, but I think the question is a good one. We are looking more critically at how we're using technology in the classroom for the important outcomes of peer-to-peer relationships and interaction, teacher-to-student interaction, all very important.
I mean, that all started with COVID. Everybody went to Chromebooks, you know, taking them home and online.
We saw, I know in Tiverton, a move to one-to-one technology prior to COVID. The Chromebooks became very useful during COVID, and there has been a shift away from Chromebooks in the classrooms.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Counselor Burke.
Just a comment, just as we go to vote, I won't be voting on either one of these tonight. The first one, because I don't believe it's a true capital request, but both of them, again, just to reiterate, I think we're out of sync with how we're deciding on using casino funds, so I'm just sticking true to that position.
Okay, do we have a motion then?
Moving to D.
We can take them both together. This is,
No, don't take them.
this is effectively going to direct the solicitor to draft the resolution, which we would then approve before any dollars are expended.
We have the resolution. Yeah,
It's the next item. It's the next
Oh,
item.
yeah, okay.
It could be amended, it could be changed, it could be voted on.
but I wouldn't do them, don't do
All
it
right,
together.
I got you, okay.
That was just discussion, John, the second one was that.
All right.
John, just one second. So, Brent, on the curriculum implemented, you guys made the change on the 10944, right?
Correct.
That dropped. What was that number that it dropped, that you took?
128,550.
So the stuff that we talked about, the teachers and you took all that out?
Professional development, took it out.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
All right, so we're effectively on D. Do we have a motion?
Why?
Well, C is the discussion, and D would be the actual,
Well, both are up for a vote, but I don't know. You don't need it, yeah.
Yeah.
We should vote on the resolution.
yeah,
But shouldn't we vote on whether or not we want to do it?
Same thing.
yeah.
It's basically jumping.
It's jumping, yeah.
Well, I understand, because Mike, if we voted down C, then D is irrelevant.
Right.
But we also give you the option to amend D,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to do something that, you want the Chromebooks, not the curriculum.
Well-
That's why.
Well,
But if we amended C, the resolution would be out the window and go back for us.
yeah, but if I want to vote yes for one and no for the other.
You just separate the vote.
The vote needs to be separated. Yeah.
All right. We're on D, yes. We're on the resolution. So the resolution is 2026-0013, 168.5, which covers the software and then the percentage of the Chromebooks. We have a motion. Motion to approve?
Can I jump in?
Yes.
I think Counselor DiMederos is, so what you want to do,
I want to vote
you want to
for the
vote
Chromebooks,
separately,
but I
so
don't
she
wanna
wants to
vote
separate the
for
two
the
items.
correct- I want to separate the two items.
So you make a
Because they're
motion,
not the same items.
So you're gonna decrease the 168.5.
no, you make a motion to vote on the curriculum first, get the vote on that, and
And then you vote on the
on the
Chromebooks. So,
Chromebook second, and then the whole.
All right, so why don't I do this, because I think there's been some confusion. So I'm going to make a motion to amend the resolution 2026-0013 and increase it to 241,445. And the logic behind that is 109,445 for the curriculum, $132,000 for the Chromebooks.
but you still have to separate the vote.
What's on the same resolution?
You could ask for separation after the motion.
I'm going to second that motion.
Okay, and
I think we have to.
if I can add my logic for this is, it's in
What's the total?
It's fine, I'm voting no for everything.
241,445. And the logic behind that is as simply as Counselor Paul stated. If we are putting dollars in the budget to offset portions of the Chromebooks, those dollars are going back in next year, even if they're not buying Chromebooks next year.
Yeah.
May I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Is there a second to your motion?
There was, Counselor Janik. So, discussion.
you're asking the school department to remove any difference from their proposed budget.
We're going to cut that right out of there at the budget hearing. That would be my intent, yes.
So the motion is for increase that 168 to, give me that number again, please?
241,445,
And the Chromebook went to what?
132.
Okay, so now Councilman DiMederos, if you'd like to vote on each
No,
one of
that's
those.
fine.
You sure?
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
Oh, I was in favor, sorry.
All right, so
I think
four,
they got it.
4-3.
43.
All right, Counselor Comito, Counselor Janik, myself, Counselor Paul, in favor, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Revise your budget and take the Chromebooks out of there.
You guys are confused. You came here for a certain amount, you're leaving with more.
Just trying to prevent us from taxing people. Yeah. All right, next item on the agenda, DPW Director Silvia, discussion and possible vote to approve purchase of a used 2024 Mack MD Dump Truck from the FY Casino Revenue Account Fund 650.
I'm not
Mr.
approving for the
Director.
same reason.
I know they need the equipment.
I know, but so does
So
everybody else.
there's no resolution for this
Correct,
because
this would direct you to create
this
a
would direct me
resolution.
because we didn't really have a good consensus based on the last time. So I wanted to give you the option. That's why I didn't prepare a resolution for this. I prepared a resolution for the schools just because I know that we're in the middle of budgets and what they put into capital will be taken out of the operating budget, which will hopefully help you balance your side of the budget.
Mr. Director or Mr. Administrator.
I'm here, thank you, council, to request this to be a resolution. I'd say 2 or 3 months ago, we had one of our Macks at the Mack dealership, discussions with people up there. One of the salesmen called with a used Mack. The town administrator had come in to visit. We were actually working on one of our Macks in the center garage, and half of it was apart, rust, new starter, new exhaust system. Jody and I discussed what was presented to us. We said we understood we had to wait till the next capital meeting. The town administrator suggested that we don't do that anymore in case that we could get a cost savings to the town on buying some of these pieces of equipment that come to us. So we have a used Mack that has less than 8,000 miles. You can save the town $20,000. Plus, we will put our own plow and frame from a truck that is out of commission already on the truck, which will also be a cost savings. So it is why I'm here to present this truck to be purchased.
Okay. I have a quick question to lead us off. Mr. Administrator, as I'm looking at Fund 640, I understand the request was for casino gaming, but, you know, now we've kind of tripped into outside of a quarterly meeting. And so begrudgingly, I will support Councilor Burke's that this needs to be a rigid process. So I'm looking here, we have a balance of $51,083.91 still remaining in unspent 640 appropriations. Are there more dollars sitting there that we would have access to?
I would have to speak with the treasurer, but I'm pretty sure that there are, because that was, waiting for the final results to be collected. For that, the money would come back.
You just spent all the money. That's what I was trying to say.
So if the council wanted to make a motion to utilize 640 with the understanding that there would be money to cover that, if not, then we come back to it.
But there's another request also for casino money on the agenda.
That's what we're on right now.
There's a next one, too.
Correct.
So, last I know, that's what was in there. Last time I asked Denise.
On the municipal capital.
I'm asking about Fund 640.
I would want to confirm that.
Councilor Burke.
I just want to clarify that in a statement, Director, that you made, that the administrator, you say the administrator made, this council has not made any decision to just take things one at a time. We did that, and then we kept on doing it, and we shouldn't be doing it. The reason to have the casino funding meetings is so we can do it in a planful way, so that the administrator can say to you, well, you need this, and the police chief needs this, and the fire chief needs this. What's the priority? Because there will have to be priorities. And I'm not trying to lay blame on you at all. But this council has not decided to go outside of those parameters. I think we've done it with several different things, including the next item. I'm all for the fireworks. But again, we're nickel and diming without a plan, so.
So just what happens to the department through the earlier process is we ended up not being able to buy some of the things we were approved for, because by the time the process gets to the point of approving the funds, the companies are not waiting for us, and they end up selling the product.
And I understand that.
And so it's going to be the same with this truck, that we're probably saving anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000, that it may have to be all brand new in September.
And I completely understand that, which is why we've also talked about doing quarterly meetings. But again, we need to go back to before we had casino funds. Before we had casino funds, you had to wait every year to get money for capital. And you said, okay, these are my 5 items, these are my 6 items, and we come to an agreement. We've gotten away from that because we have this, and again, I think we have to be careful. It's not free money for us. It's money that we have to be planful about, and I get it. And maybe the administrator comes forward and says, you know what, I need, as every year or every other year, to put aside, X percentage of it for emergency situations, and define what that's going to mean for emergency. And maybe that requires a higher percentage of the vote of the council to approve that. But, and again, this isn't you. I mean, I think we've done this too many times already.
It's everything rolling.
So just one last comment on with the quarterly. Even in that process, we're going to ask a dealership to hold on to a vehicle for three months, and it's the.
That's the way we used to do it.
I understand that, but that's, unfortunately, we're not a corporation that can just have the CEO or somebody else approve it.
Councilor DiMederos.
No, it's okay. I'm still
Mr.
trying.
Director.
What is left in this account? You think there's 50,000 in there?
I would trust what the treasurer submitted to you as far as your backup. Anything else will have to double check.
Treasurer's not present.
And what are you looking at?
I was looking at 640.
Is it 640? Is it 640?
President, may I?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find.
Counselor Comito?
May I?
Yes.
Mr. Director, so the Mack truck, what do we use that for in a regular routine week, or what's the routine of that truck? How often is it used? What is it used for? And
So we have 9 employees that drive plow trucks, do routes in the winter. I understand we bought 4 new vehicles back in September, but that still leaves 5 drivers with trucks that are in severely bad condition. So besides plowing all winter with these trucks, they're dump trucks, so we can use them throughout the summer as well. Recently, we have been hauling contaminated materials with these trucks to an old Pawtucket landfill for their cover. So that's not on DPW property. So that's one of the things that we're already using the bigger dump trucks for, which this is a a bigger dump truck than the 4 that we previously have purchased. So hauling.
I'm sorry. As of March 31st, 2026, the report that you have in your packet indicates that the balance of that account is $51,083.91.
I would just,
Sorry.
I would just add, though, that remaining balance line item, that is only a summation of dollars that were appropriated versus dollars that were not spent. It's
That's what I'm confused
It's my
about.
understanding that we didn't just blow the account out.
So what
And
we
that, so
have-
I'm gonna go back to the last meetings, because I think that's where the report was on the balances.
It was.
In 640 and 650.
It was. No, what John is saying is that 51 is what's left over from the amount we already allocated.
Yes.
So some of these people haven't spent what we gave them yet. So, but we still have it allocated to that, and they still may want to spend that. So-
Which, as we know, there is no mechanism to just automatically pull that back.
That's coming on the next agenda.
Yes, correct.
But we could, if they don't spend it by the end of the, no.
No, there is no mechanism.
which is like
There is
the
no-
tennis courts, we have $100,000 tied
Right,
up
there's no
somewhere,
mechanism.
and there's no mechanism to get it back. And it just aggravates me that the money's sitting there for 2 years now, we haven't done anything with it.
Yeah, you said that last time.
Yeah, so it's, if we're not spending this money and we're not allocating, we're not buying, we're not purchasing, the money needs to come back somehow, some way. And so we can reallocate for whoever wants to be on the ball, do their job, and get the equipment that they need. Like, so, $100,000 tied up in tennis courts that we're not sure what we're gonna do with is to me, ridiculous.
All right, hang
But
on.
this is a piece of equipment, I think this has to be one of the last pieces of equipment to make our fleet, to make our fleet
Halfway.
Halfway.
close. But, I mean, we're not gonna go out every year and buy all new plow trucks and all this stuff, but this is I think we would need the Mack, not only for hauling large materials, but to pull our loader somewhere if we need it.
Correct.
In an emergency, a disaster, it's gotta be, we gotta have a piece of equipment heavy enough to pull our loader. It was almost like when we bought a beach rake, we didn't have the tractor to pull it. This is almost like the same type of scenario. So, I mean, this is just another piece of equipment that we need. We're gonna be building hopefully, we're gonna be building a new public works soon, right? The recycling center. So this is equipment, we're gonna be doing a lot of work. This is equipment we need to do this work, to move soil from point A to point B, right? So this is, I mean, I get everybody's concerned about just spending the casino money, right? Because or capital money. But we do need to slow it down somehow, but this is to lose $20,000 or $30,000 and just give it away. I don't know.
I missed that, sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
So-
just for clarification, the request was under the capital, but I had asked if we could do it under 640 and what the balance was
Right, the
there. But we don't have that
request was-
information in our backup.
It was under the casino, that's what confused me.
So if we don't have this vehicle, what can we not do? Like, what will this change in our town? What functions cannot happen?
So what we keep running into, particularly during the winter months when all the trucks are consistently active with winter maintenance, is that they're broken down and they're not used until fixed. Typically 3, 4, 5 of them break down at once. We're sending some out to dealerships to be worked on because it over inundates the one mechanic that we have to fix them. Again, most of these trucks that we have are 20-some years old, they're rusted out, the chassis are gone, they're becoming unsafe to operate. So any given time right now, with the type of summer work we're doing, we probably would have enough to get through the summer. I'm trying to save 20 or 30,000 to have a vehicle that's going to be ready and able to operate when we have another winter like we just went through.
I think that we've all toured DPW, we've all looked at those vehicles. When you get in, you can see the ground because there's missing
There's
space
two
on
on
the
the lot that
floor.
was on the consent agenda that we're trying to now, send to recycling. There's another we're using for parts, and another vehicle that's similar to keep at least one of the two running that are absolutely in horrible disrepair, which is why I'm going to request for this equipment regardless. I was just trying to save 20 to 30,000. There's a $20,000 savings on the paperwork that I submitted to you, but we are also supplying the plow and frame from one of the trucks that are already out of commission but had a newer plow and frame on it, so.
You can pull it over to that.
Right.
So not to belabor got me again.
You're taking it away from me.
You're muted. No, you want to say?
I was gonna say, we could go on all night, but I'm gonna stick with I've been beating this drum for years now. That department has been neglected far too long, and equipment like this does not come in front of us all the time. And you said you're pretty much halfway with your fleet?
Correct.
To having a full, competent fleet?
Correct. That we could then be in a process of replacing slowly instead of within a 2-year period.
Councilor DiMederos.
David, I just want to correct you. It's not the council that neglected
I didn't fault
the
anybody. I'm just
DPW.
saying
Not at
it's
all.
been neglected
Well, I
too
will
long.
say that the last administrator did not ask for this equipment or bought second or third hand equipment. So the director, that's what I mean. So that's the problem. We approved what was in front of us and didn't realize that we were neglecting you.
So, if it would please the council, my suggestion would be as follows. Not knowing what is actually in 640, we know there's unspent dollars, at least 51,000 unspent dollars in 640. Could we direct the administrator, if there is unspent dollars in 640, to make the purchase from there? Ultimately, if we're gonna do this, there would have to be a resolution on the next agenda anyways, and we could vote it up or down then. If it has to come out of 650.
650, yes, 640.
Right. So 640, we don't need a resolution.
What does the council feel there?
To move us forward, I'll try to make that motion for you. I move that we direct the administrator to work with the treasurer to identify funding for the 2024 Mack MD truck at a cost of $152,500 as possible from Capital Fund 640, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor DiMederos. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Next items.
Thank you, sir. So we need a Mack truck, and now we're gonna throw 60,000 up in the air.
So next item on the agenda is Recreation Chair, not Director Gilfillen. Discussion and possible vote to approve funds, $60,000 from the 2026 Tiverton Celebrates Fireworks and Block Party from FY25 Casino Revenue Account Fund 650.
I have a
Mr.
question.
Director, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Director.
You're listed as director on the agenda. That's why it keeps tripping me up. Do you deign to approach the council, sir?
Before Stu starts, I do want to ask a question. We were discussing taking this from what the casino owed us for taxation. What happened? You had a meeting. The casino. What I was told was you were going to have a meeting, I think it was the week after our meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened?
We had that meeting. There's going to be a proposal available for the next meeting that's going to discuss a safety issue and also the tax treaty that the town is engaged.
So what is there to discuss on the tax treaty? They owe us this money, so
Yes.
they're not giving it to us?
They're not saying that at all.
Okay, so
Right.
it might be available.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Gilfillen, do you need the money right this second?
Yes, he does.
So we can transfer.
Yeah, so can't we take it from,
I believe the way the contract works, it's like 50% upfront and then 50% after. I'd have to confirm with the treasurer, but I think that's what she'd said. Yeah. The treasurer does have the invoices, what she was saying. We were drawing straws on who was gonna come up, so.
Well, the
lost
poor
it.
DPW director took all the bullets for you, so.
so is this just for the fireworks, or it's for other things during that day? It's just for the fireworks?
So the 48,000 is for the fireworks and the rest is
Okay.
for the rest of the day.
Okay. And we did have money left over from the power plant.
I'm not sure.
I had the balance last time, and, yeah, I think I got too much sun today doing garden work, but I can't remember what it was. It was 17?
Approximately. I know we've signed the contract for the buses, and we took that
Okay.
contract out of that remaining.
All right, so this doesn't include the buses? Okay.
Well, that's
It doesn't.
part of the 60,000.
All right, but we took it
But
out of
that's
there.
already taken out.
That already moved forward because we had available funds.
So they may not need the 60,000, you're saying?
I'm saying that they're saying it's total project, or total event cost.
Yeah.
$60,000. I already authorized of the remaining balance from the power plant to pay for the buses.
Okay. So
When you said
that's
1,700 or 17,000?
17,000 was available. I think, Mike, don't, it's somewhere around there.
No, I meant for the buses.
Oh, the bus, oh, no.
Okay.
The
No, the buses
buses-
were 17. Okay.
No, the buses were.
The available amount of money was.
Yeah,
Which you've already paid the buses out of.
Yes, sir.
but we're not sure what that was
So-
or what's
The-
left.
When is
Buses
the,
were 4,800.
when is the dollars needed for the fireworks?
I gave the treasurer the invoice for the 48,000. I'm not sure when she sent the first check or if she split the payment or not. It didn't say in the contract this year if it was.
No check has been sent, right.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So can we safely give them 50 and it'll work? Because that's how I'm looking at it. Because I think there was 17,000 left over. So we should give him 50.
Yeah, so I think the 60,000 is all encompassing for the event. If we are looking at from the 17,000 that was there and a portion of that was taken for the buses, the cost for the fireworks, setting aside where it's coming from, is 48,000, is that correct? So the 48,000 would be for that component of it, and that would cover, 50,000 would cover the fireworks for the event.
And 2,000 left over for whatever else you needed, and then if you needed more, then we can discuss it.
Can someone refresh my memory, because Chair Gilfillen sat in front of us a few meetings ago and said we needed much larger sum of money for all of these activities, and we said we'll figure it out, sign the contract so we don't lose the fireworks?
Right.
Where did we settle on we were gonna be taking those dollars from?
We had it because they were having the meeting the week after to see if the treaty money came through. And that's why we waited for this agenda to see if the treaty money came through. And when I saw this on the agenda this weekend, I was like, oh, the treaty money didn't come through then. Okay.
Mr. President?
Counselor.
Quick question. So that I'm clear, set aside the 48 for the fireworks, the 12K for the block party included the 4,800, so now it's 7,200 that you need for the block party.
No, 12,000.
So the 60,000 was inclusive of buses, fireworks,
Right.
and then activities within that
Right,
total.
so you have 48,000 for the fireworks. That left 12,000.
Right.
Okay, of that, you've spent 4,800.
Correct.
Okay, so you only need 7,200, not counting the fireworks.
Correct.
And I think
Okay.
you have that in the other money,
Yeah, okay.
I think.
My only comment here, and again, I feel like I'm taking a page out of the right side of the table for once. I don't see how fireworks is in any way, shape, or form capital, or anything really related to this event. I understand that we have to find the money for it, but I don't know how we could even take this out of the, I mean, if,
Because last time we agreed that we would take it out of the casino, and then when the treaty money came.
but I don't know if we can legally do that, Mr. Solicitor. Because the ordinance is very clear.
I'm going home.
There's only 17.
There's no money.
Did we take it from anywhere other than the mall?
No, we
No.
always took it from the power plant.
But now there's no power plant money.
I get that.
Yeah.
And that's why, if there was treaty money, this would pay for it.
Yes.
Definitely pay for it. So, I'm a little frustrated that they owe us like 2 years of this treaty money already. So I'm a little bit frustrated, because this money should already be in our pocket.
They know.
Okay.
So the clerk and I have been discussing while you guys are having this debate. There was $60,000, discussion and possible vote to approve funding of $60,000 for the 2026
Yes.
Tiverton Celebrates Fireworks and Block Party. That was on 3/23. I'm looking for the minutes of that meeting.
I don't
See if
have
that was
those loaded
approved.
yet. It was approved, but there was no funding,
There's no
source
funding
tied
attached to it? Okay.
So-
Now we're looking for the funding.
We're looking for the funding,
Okay.
and
Oh, you're asking if it's a capital expense?
it's not a
It's not a
capital
capital
expense.
expense
That's
under the
100% not a capital
Correct.
expense.
Well, we told them to sign the contract, so they did.
We did, now we need to
So-
figure out where the money's coming from.
Right.
We need $48,000 at least.
I usually don't say this. Do we have anything in council contingency?
That's what I was looking for right now.
Yes, we do, according to Denise.
I would be, in the last conversation I had with the treasurer, and I can again double check with the treasurer, but that was paying for the majority of the pay increases that we gave them.
But if you look at this, we have 125,000 left over.
I understand, but we're also getting towards the end of the year.
So could I just make a suggestion that you've already voted to appropriate the money? I would, unless you want to get into the weeds of it, let the administrator find at least the deposit in the monies that where he finds it. It can't be used from capital, we agree on that, but there might be other accounts that he might be able to squeeze out of, and he can report back to you, but.
Make a motion to approve 48, or do we need the full amount?
It says 60.
What do you need immediately?
Well, they already signed the contract
I
for
know.
48,000.
48,000, so,
So it would be half of.
but by the time we have the fireworks, so, because that's the end of May.
But we need to get a deposit in right away.
The amount sufficient to secure the fireworks.
As the solicitor says, I'll make that motion.
Which is 50%.
Do I have a second?
Ask when we can get the.
We'll work together. Thank you.
I don't think we say 50%, because we're gonna have to pay the whole,
We have to pay
and
the
and
whole
we're
thing
gonna be,
anyway.
we're gonna be into the next fiscal year.
And we don't know if Denise paid half.
Here's,
Or-
So we,
Shouldn't have paid
so if the administrator has the authority to find the money to secure the fireworks, and let's say that's 24,000, okay? Then he comes back to us next meeting and says, okay, I found the 24,000, that gives the deposit. We still have time between now and May to deal with that 24,000 plus the additional 7,200 for the rest of the activities. I think I'm getting that right.
so I would add that if the objective here is that we're gonna get some dollars as part of a tax treaty back, it's whatever comes out of whatever accounts the administrator takes out of, even if it were council contingency. It's a stopgap between now and the next meeting.
So moved.
Councilor
add
Burke,
that
I'll
to-
second your motion.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Counselor DiMederos.
How much does the casino owe us so far?
Minimum of 2 years, which is $25,000 a year.
So they owe us
And
50,000.
they're going into a third.
Into a
tax.
third, so
Yes.
we should almost have in our pockets 75,000.
You'll have an answer by the next meeting one way or the other.
My only,
One way.
It's on, it'll be on your.
But it's a treaty, they have to do it.
No,
They
no,
signed it, we
I
signed it.
understand.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to be cagey with you, Counselor. There's a reason why, and this is a conversation that I had with the solicitor and also with Attorney Pocasset. There were other conversations.
They're holding it hostage.
My
They're holding
only,
it hostage.
That's exactly what they're doing. And I'll say it
They're holding
publicly.
it hostage.
They're holding it
And
hostage.
we better be very careful next time. We sign any treaties with them.
Counselor Burke.
my only other comment is that we should start looking now for next year.
Correct.
And we've talked about fundraising.
Mr. President, I have one more question. Stu, is this only first student so far with the pricing on the buses, or have you reached out to?
Amaral?
I did reach to Amaral, but they didn't have an answer for me in the right, honestly, they didn't give me a.
Do we have anything signed with first student? Because I know first student is ridiculously
Yes, that's
expensive.
who we signed with the buses. Well, I got a lower rate than last year with first student.
You can reach out to Amaral's one more time?
I
School
can,
department
but this-
subsidizing the budget.
Well, the
The buses
PTOs are
are-
allowed to use Amaral's because it's cheaper. First student used to have a, hands
So you've
locked
already
on.
paid that.
Yeah, the buses are already signed and paid for generally for next year.
Okay, so the bottom line is we have the money for you, assuming this vote goes forward. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll just commit to is, because I think this is an important point, is that from a recreation standpoint, we also recognize that this is something that there needs to be outside funding for. I don't think we want to put you in a position where we have to continue to have this conversation year in, year out, and I appreciate the support. But I will also offer, we're gonna try to do some fundraising this year and also set the tone for that as we go forward.
So I think Counselor Comito will hold the boot on the side of the road for you.
I've got a boot space for you.
I'm gonna have a nice banner with my name on it, and it's gonna be right? Recreation made a record with us.
All right, Madam Clerk, you have the motion recorded, yes?
Your name is
We're good?
Ivago.
Okay. We'll review the tape. All right, all those in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Harbor Commission discussion and possible vote to authorize the town administrator to send a letter to the Coastal Resources Management Commission in support of changing water type designations for a portion of Nanaquaket Pond from type 1 to type 2 to reflect current usage. Hello, this is,
No money.
we appreciate you.
Are you sure you don't want any money? No, okay.
We'll take some.
So I think it's pretty straightforward to surmise that, based on the backup, we're just correcting something that should have been done a long time ago. People
Exactly.
are already using it as a type 2 waterway when it shouldn't be, when it's labeled a type 1.
I couldn't have said it better.
Okay, wonderful.
Mr. President, if I
Yes.
may. Just for the record, I did receive a call from a citizen concerned that this was going to be approved by the council without any sort of public comment.
Is
So
that citizen present?
No.
They could have come.
I am just making the council aware that this one citizen and resident is concerned about reclassification of the pond. That's all.
Question for you. How many times did you guys have this on your agenda?
We've had it on the agenda twice, back in January 2025. And there was a pretty good contingent of residents. We had a good discussion and brought forth all these issues. And then just last Monday night, we voted again to confirm it and designate specifically where the type 2 waters would begin and the type 1 waters would be.
If I'm imagining it correctly, that line's probably somewhere Evelyn's across. If I'm looking at Nanaquaket, it's to the
Yeah.
south. Yes, okay.
Yeah, so type 1 is the south of the last developed property. And then type 1 is just for conservation purposes. And type 2, which is the actual use, is north from there.
I have a follow-on question for you as it relates to type 2. What is the downside?
Well, I would defer to Bruce, I guess. The downside is that the CRMC and the state could come back and say that you don't need, that there are moorings that shouldn't necessarily be there. And there's residential docks that people have. And that is what the pond has. There's no intention at all to change the nature and the use of the pond. It's to keep the pond the way it is and to keep the state from coming back and saying, hey, this is type 1, you have moorings and you have docks, and you have to start taking them down.
Is that accurate, sir?
My feeling is very simple, and it has been for about a decade now. We're trying to make legality match reality. Reality is it's used as type 1 water. It's my understanding.
Type 2.
It's used as type 2 water. It's designated type 1 water. Approximately 10 years before I arrived here, which is 20 years ago now, it was changed from type 2 to type 1 because an individual didn't want to see docks along the shore of Nanaquaket. So that's the motivation way back when by CRMC to change it. Now that is gone. I mean, there are a number of little crossover structures that are on the Nanaquaket side that CRMC is allowed to be built because they realize it's a lot better to let someone make a little structure to get to their dinghy that's on the beach, to get out to their mooring as a riparian owner, which they have every legal right to have, than to have them crunching onto the surface of the soils and such, because it is of a type that could get harmed by human beings walking across it. The reality is that it has been used as type 2 waters all the time I've been here, and well before that. When they changed it to type 1 waters, nobody enforced anything. It's like a meaningless speed limit. So we want to make it match the legality, the zoning regulations that have been changed recently, indeed bring some of that into being along the Main Street side. So that's all that's going on here.
Councilor Janik, then Councilor Burke.
So if we have type 1 at one point and then type 2, what is to stop boats from type 2 to go into type 1, or is that not the purpose? It's
Yeah,
just
Very shallow.
it's just for the docks and the moorings?
Yeah, the type 1 water's way down at the most southern end. I don't think it's navigable. And it's just mud, and it really is, fits the criteria of the type 1, which is conservation and limited use.
Okay.
Yes.
And my second point was, you're looking for us, as we are on our agenda, to authorize the town administrator to send a letter to CRMC in support of changing it. We're not changing it ourselves here.
Right.
So for that resident, if we vote for this, we're sending this, CRMC would be the one who would make that determination.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Burke.
So to, Mr. President, your question before, I was at the last commission meeting, and there were a couple people who live nearby who spoke, and the commission members listened to them. I think the other thing is there was a really good discussion about which type of water, because there are other types that it could be made into, but what was realized that the type 2 recognizes that there are some existing businesses on there that would fit into a different type, but also type 2 conforms with the recent waterfront 2 changes. So it still allows those businesses to exist. They're grandfathered in anyway, but it would allow them to exist going forward, even if they sold off. But it doesn't permit a more intensive use in that area. So I think they did a great job of wading through this, no pun intended, because it was pretty technical at points. And as Councilor Janik said, this is our recommendation to the CRMC. We don't make the final decision.
Okay, Councilor Camino.
So just a comment about the moorings. So you don't plan on adding any more moorings in this area of the pond, right? So like a year from now, all of a sudden we see this pond is going to be full of moorings.
At this
Is there a
point,
plan to add more moorings?
There's no plan for that currently because there's no access for the public to access their moorings. You need
Right.
to have a public launch or dinghy access to be able to access the mooring. So that's not there. So at this point, that wouldn't fit.
But if we go, if CRC changes it to type 2, then we can put the docks and all that stuff to add. to
If you
make
own
access.
property on the water.
If
You
you-
have a
if you-
right to a mooring if you're out
if-
of property.
Okay.
So riparian.
So there's a fishing boat out there that doesn't own property around, he's on a mooring, right?
Right.
So how does he get access to his boat if we're in type 1?
I don't know of that particular.
Right now, we're at type 1.
Well, you could take, if somebody.
Right now, we have a fishing boat that's in the middle of the pond.
A bunch of them.
Okay, so I'm asking,
Yeah.
if we go to type 2 or type 1, right now, we have a fishing boat out there.
Yeah.
That, who's regulating this? Because it's not being regulated right now, correct?
No, I mean, if that's a mooring, it's an official mooring, and if it's an illegal mooring, the harbor master would remove that illegal mooring, so,
It could be something deeded to somebody's property too.
yeah.
But those moorings have been there for 15-plus years that I know of.
Right, but it could be riparian, so it
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
If I may, any riparian owner has an absolute right, whether it be type 1 or type 2 waters, to have a mooring. The dock is a different issue.
Okay.
Type 1 waters, for instance, on the Secundit River, stop 2 houses over from me. I'm on the Secundit River. And the gentleman who put that dock in had an engineer who took the regulations from coastal and said, the type 1 water line is an extension of Island View Road. And when he did the survey of the gentleman's property, he realized the property didn't align perfectly with Island View, and there was enough space for him to put a dock in. And he is the last dock on the Secundit River on the Tiverton side. Nothing's done in Little Compton. That's all type 1 water. The riparian owner can in fact have a mooring, even in type 1 waters. You have a collection of pre-existing, what I'll call non-conforming moorings in the basin, in the Nanaquaket Pond, that are allowed to stay there. And until the person dies, that mooring can stay there in type 1 waters. The gentleman has obviously some means of getting out to his boat. You're talking about the trawler-like boat I'm talking about. So the people that have moorings there, they're protected. They're, by virtue of the fact they were there evidently prior to it being turned from type 2 to type 1, they had their mooring, they still have their mooring. The issue is the utilization of the waters by the other public members of the town of Tiverton for, jet skiing, water skiing, all the things that you see going on there, which is appropriate use, in my opinion, for that area. Might other moorings be put in there? Certainly, but the person, before they can have a mooring, has to demonstrate they have a means of getting to it. So they can't just say, okay, I'm gonna put a mooring in there and out of the sky, pull a mooring out of the air, as a site. So there is a process. But it's just the utilization of the waters that's appropriate to make it type 2 waters.
No, great, and you answered my question. So what I'm saying, what I was worried about is if we go to type 2 and now we can add the mooring to put more room, and now we're not gonna have room to water ski, use the jet skis and all that other stuff. So that was what I was worried about, and that's where I was going with my questioning about the moorings. So, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion.
So I would make a motion that we direct the town administrator to send a letter to Coastal Resources Management Commission in support of changing the water type designations for a portion of Nanaquaket Pond from type 1 to type 2 to reflect current usage.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Administrator Jones' discussion and possible vote to approve Resolution 2026-0014 to authorize the town administrator and/or town solicitor to take all necessary steps and appropriate steps to sell and close on certain lots in the Tiverton Town Industrial Park with Longplex Ice and Golf LLC.
If you recall, the council previously entered into a purchase and sale agreement with the Longplex, and we have consummated everything that needs to be done from his end and our end, so we're just asking to close on the property.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion.
He did receive master plan approval from the planning board, yes, I'm sorry.
So this, we agreed on this, and so this is just finalizing.
Correct. We entered into a purchase and sale. Certain steps had to be taken.
Okay, I
and
know, like the closing of the paper roads or whatever.
Paper roads,
merging
and then
things.
he had to get master plan approval,
Yeah.
and there was a little bit of delay for financing on his part, but we were ready to close back in January. He finally got his closing. I got a word from his lawyer this last week or 2 weeks ago that he wanted to close now, so.
Do I dare ask about the stone walls? Isn't that
The
part
rock
of that?
piles, the rock piles.
We think we're waiting for a report.
We did not get the report yet. I sent an email last week for an update.
So I will say, just for the record, that in January, when I wanted to close, I was told that we were waiting for the rock report, and that's why they wouldn't close. And then March comes along, or April comes along, and I get it, that he wants, that
They wanna close.
they want to close.
Very good.
So,
All right, so entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? All right, next item on the agenda, since the unions have left, we're actually going to do this. No, I'm just kidding. You got freaked out. Administrator Jones, update on town hall renovations.
I know most of you who have seen Town Hall, it's coming along very, very well. We're on track for our first meeting being May 11th. I have been approached by several other boards and commissions, very excited to use the chambers before you, but they were told,
no one sits in the seats before us.
You get it first. So we are on for May 11th.
For filing cabinets? Where are the filing cabinets?
So I'm actually meeting with the school department tomorrow. So in speaking with them, knowing that we signed a recent MOU with putting recreation down there, and speaking with Mr. Andrade, we're looking for just space so we can put a lock on a door, put some filing cabinets in there, like an old classroom. And they're definitely open to the idea. They want to work with us. So this way, instead of putting them in a storage container outside, we can actually have a climate-controlled room that our staff can go in there and we can line up all the filing cabinets, and they are actively going through them to consolidate them as we speak as well.
Oh, so those aren't just empty cabinets?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I didn't bother.
No, a lot of those are from the planning office and the building zoning office.
Okay, last two items on the agenda before we go to exec. Schedule of budget workshops. We obviously missed the 23rd. That was April break. So now we're on for the 30th and May 7th. So
Now, the 30th is DPW and municipal.
So what I'm going to, and I'll take responsibility for that, I forgot that it was school vacation week, given that my kids are not on vacation anymore. But with that being said, I will ask the DPW director and the fire chief to be at our Thursday meeting, just to see if we can get through the entire municipal budget. If we need to do another meeting, we can always schedule at that time.
But the police was supposed to be last week. Police and fire.
So it was going to be DPW and fire because the police chief was on vacation.
Oh, all right.
So now Thursday will be the municipal side. And then if we need another meeting, that'll be up to you. And then the following Thursday will be the school department.
I think we need another meeting.
All municipal.
entirety municipal.
Everyone but school.
And these will be at 6 o'clock, yes?
Yes, sir.
That's
Okay.
going to be a huge meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Swing the bat.
It is.
Worst case scenario, we schedule a third. Okay, next item on the agenda is we need to schedule some workshops to talk about the charter amendments. I don't know what the council's pleasure is. Mine is not Saturdays, I can assure you that.
Well, why don't we do it on our off Mondays? Because most of us don't make plans. Is that the third Monday? So, what I was... How about May 4th? That would be the first Monday.
So just, you know, I started drafting some of the ones that you got, that you have agreed upon.
Okay.
Friday, so, we'll have some, look at drafting some.
That's next month.
Next Monday. Or we, or...
There's another one.
So, could we swing, so we're on what, it's May 11th and then
May 26th,
May 26th.
we do like a Tuesday.
I was gonna say either the 18th or,
We can't make it the 18th.
okay.
I'm gonna be away. And so will I.
We could keep the Thursday schedule and swing 14.
Thursdays is so hard for me, and Craig too.
What day are you looking at, guys?
We're throwing out dates. We're hurting cats, Mr. Solicitor.
Try to see if we can extend the meeting till 9.
About, how about, Deb, when are you leaving, the 11th? The 9th. Right.
And you're, May 9th, you're gonna be gone still on the 20th?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, at least you're taking the full trip. That's positive.
I mean, I could do Thursday, May 28th. On Thursday.
The only question I have, and I don't know if you have the answer, how, I mean, we gotta get these on
I think it was the end of.
August,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so, given that we've already got budget's obviously taking precedence, do we want to try and stick these into June then? Yeah.
My goal is to start putting these on the agenda, so at least you have them, even though you might not discuss them, just to have, so you'll have them, or I can just forward to the
Yeah,
council.
but don't waste your time on
No.
things that we don't want.
No, I'm not, I'm only
You don't even
working,
know what we want.
no, well, I'm working on the ones that we already had the meeting on, where there was consensus.
Yes.
There was consensus on a bunch of the,
Yep.
to draft,
To draft.
yeah. I mean, right, the language could change.
Yes, we're gonna make you write them all up so we can vote them down.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I get paid every
Change our
way,
minds.
so.
How about June 1st?
Mr. President, we're also going to need, I'm sure you thought about this, a budget hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know when that would be.
Let's go to the calendar.
Are we shooting for the 28th for the charter, just so I can put it
We
in?
don't know yet.
Oh,
My preference would be not to jam-pack May, because we've got to get the budget done in that timeframe.
How about, well, Mike, you can't make,
cannot make the third,
Monday. So we could
Oh, I
do,
can't make the third, yeah, Monday, sorry.
so we could, in June, we have off Mondays that you could make, it would be the 1st, the 22nd, or the 29th.
By May 13th, okay.
You serious?
Yep.
By May 13th?
Not the preliminary unified budget ordinance.
Well, it's gonna be adopted by May 15th, and then public.
Oh, okay.
Not
So-
May 13th. It's
And the public hearing is 30 days out, right? Yeah, at least 30 days out.
So May 13th is the drop-dead deadline for us to schedule, propose and schedule the hearing.
And then we can change it after the scheduled hearing,
All right, so
because we have.
we have,
We have.
all right, so why don't we look at some dates in June for the charter? Maybe we do the off Mondays in June.
June 1st, 22nd, or the 29th.
I'd say not the 29th because you're running into 4th of July.
You're right. So you want to do the 15th you can't do. So you want to do the 1st or the 22nd?
Why can't we do the 15th?
Because Mike has.
Oh, okay. In June?
Yeah.
Well, the 22nd is our regular meeting. No, it's not, never mind.
No, it's not. Oh, yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it's the 8th
Yeah,
and the
for some reason,
22nd.
it's not in my book, but
So it's either the June 1st. Or June 5th. No, I can't make it June 5th. Oh,
I say
we
we-
can do it on Tuesdays.
I mean, we've already got some pretty good consensus, so, let's swing June 1st and then we can schedule a second one after the fact.
We might not need a second one.
I guess I might just distribute the drafts to you.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We have a lot of meetings.
We have a lot of meetings. And we're swinging normal time, 7 o'clock, at Town Hall.
Yeah.
so what date did we say?
June 1.
June 1?
send me a reminder. What time?
7.
7 PM, sir.
Keep up, Mike.
Okay, wonderful. So we are in business. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to go into closed executive session. Administrator Jones, Round General Laws 42465A2, potential litigation, legal advice, state planning council decision regarding Chase Marina redevelopment project. Do I have a second? All right, Councilor Camino.
Yes.
Councilor Burke.
Yes.
Councilor Janik.
Yes.
Councilor DiMederos. I'm a yes. Councilor Paul.
Yes.
Councilor Perry. All right, we are now in closed executive session.